Hi guys, this is Sadek from Downgrade.com, and in this video, we'll show you how to unbreak your OnePlus 9 Pro using Fastboot commands. So using this guide, you could carry out three different things. First and foremost, if your phone is currently in a boot loop or a Softbrick state, then you could easily rectify that issue by flashing the Fastboot ROM via the Fastboot command, and then your phone will be back to normal. The second benefit of this method is that if you want to do a downgrade, for example from Android 14 to Android 13, so in that case also you could simply flash this ROM and do a downgrade. Currently the ROM which I will be flashing will be of Android 13 based on OxygenOS 13. So if you are running on OxygenOS 14, then you could easily flash this Fastboot ROM and do a downgrade from Android 14 to Android 13. Apart from that, if you are currently on a custom ROM and want to go back to stock, or if you are currently on a custom ROM and want to go back to a different custom ROM, then in both these cases you will have to flash the Fastboot ROM or the stock ROM, you could say. And for that, once again, this guide will come in handy. While you could also use the MSM tool, but in MSM tool it will flash the Android 11 firmware, so you will then have to install a few OTA updates to get to Android 13 or 14, which will take quite a lot of time. On the other hand, using this guide, I am using the latest OxygenOS 13 build, the staple build. So using this guide, you could easily flash the Android 13 build and then get the job done. So with that said, let's get started. Do note that the process will wipe off all the data from your phone. So if there is any way you could take a backup, please do so right away. So with that in mind, your first course of action is to download and extract the Android SDK platform tools. If your phone is currently in a Fastboot mode, stuck in a Fastboot mode, then there is no need for doing so. On the other hand, if your phone is currently working well and good, then you will have to carry out a few additional tasks. So first off, download the SDK platform tools from this guide and extract them onto your PC. You can extract them anywhere you want. In my case, I have done the extraction in C drive, and these are the files, as you could see, of platform tools. So these are the files, extract them onto your PC. Once that is done, your next course of action is to download the firmware and extract the firmware. You could skip all these steps because I have the Fastboot ROM itself in the IMG format. So you don't have to download the ROM or even extract the payload.bin file. You could easily skip the step 2 and skip step 3 as well. Likewise, you could also skip the step 4 as well. I have also written here that you don't need to carry out the steps. You only need the first step if you want to boot your phone to Fastboot mode. If your phone is already there in the Fastboot mode, then you could even skip the step 1 as well. So you will have to start from step 5. So first and foremost, you will have to boot your phone to Fastboot mode. So if your device is in a Softbrick or a Bootloop state, then long press the power key for around 10 to 15 seconds and your phone will then power off. After that, press and hold the volume and power down keys for around 5 seconds and your phone will then boot into the Fastboot mode. Once that is done, you will have to verify the Fastboot connection as well. So right click on the Windows icon and choose Device Manager. Then expand the Android phone section, Android device section, and make sure your phone is being shown as Android booter interface. If that is not happening, then you will have to install the Fastboot drivers. I have made a separate guide on the same and the video as well. So you could refer to my video or the guide, and please make sure to install the drivers. Until and unless you are getting this, you will not be able to proceed ahead. Likewise, you could also check via the platform tools folder. So open a CMD window if you want over here, then type in Fastboot devices and you should get a serial ID over here as well. So this signifies that the Fastboot connection has been established successfully and we could now go ahead. So up until now, we have just checkmarked one requirement, that is booting our phone to Fastboot mode. Till now, we haven't downloaded the ROM itself. So let's now proceed ahead and download the ROM. So let's now proceed ahead and download the ROM. For that, you will have to go to this link and get hold of the ROM version. So it has for all the regions. For the OnePlus 9 Pro, it's the Fastboot ROM, as you could see from here, and they have the data as well, the upload date and the region as well. So currently it's the IN Indian region for me, so I'll be using the LE2121 and the latest version. So So this is the latest one in my case at the time of recording, Indian version 13.10591. So download the ROM according to the version as well as the device code, and then once you have got the ROM file, let me show you. It will be something in like this in a .7zip format. So you could now extract this file using the 7zip software. So install it from its website, then right click on the file, the 7z file, the firmware file, and select show more option, then select 7zip and choose extract to the folder name, and it will now extract the files. And as you could see, we have got all the files in the IMG format. You don't have to extract the payload bin or any such file. All these things have been done beforehand itself. You could now simply flash this file. So as you could see, these are the IMG files and these are the bin files. So just a minute, these are the bin file required and these are the IMG file. So there is no need to transfer this folder to the platform tools. You could get the job done from inside this folder itself, because it already have the platform tools folder files. As you could see, the files are already there. So no need to do any transfer. Simply download the ROM, extract it, and you could do the flashing from here itself. So regarding the flashing part, there are two ways. Either the automatic method, which is the easier and quite shorter of the two. And it only requires a couple of clicks. On the other hand, there is a manual method as well. In the manual method, we will carry out all the tasks by writing individual commands by copy pasting each of these command in the CMD window. You could go ahead with either of these two methods. I will highly recommend you opt for the automatic method. But if you want to do a manual method, then here's what you need to do. But before that, let's start the automatic method. So in the automatic method, all you have to do is simply launch the install.bat file, and it will first and foremost do a format data. So let's just wait for a few seconds and then it will start flashing the process. First off, it will ask you to root. So type in N. We don't want to root our phone now. If required, you could root your phone once the device boots up, because as of now, rooting is not our main purpose. Our main purpose is to simply boot to the Stock OS. We could do the rooting part later on as well. So as of now, the flashing is going on and it's the automatic approach. In the automatic approach, you just have to launch the install bat file and the flashing will go on and it will get automatically complete. If we talk about the manual method, and as you could see in the automatic approach, your phone will also undergo a reboot to the FastbootD mode. You don't have to do anything in this regard. It will automatically reboot to this mode and flash the rest of the file. So currently it's the stock OxygenOS FastbootD mode, and then it will also reboot to the Fastboot mode and FastbootD mode on its own. You don't have to do anything from your part. So anyways, the flashing is currently going on. Now if we talk about the manual method, then in that case you will first off have to boot your phone to Fastboot mode. Then you have to do a factory reset using this command. After that, you will have to flash these files in the Fastboot mode, and once you have flashed all these files, you will now have to boot your phone to FastbootD mode using Fastboot reboot Fastboot command, and your phone will then boot to the FastbootD mode. Once it's in that mode, you will now have to flash these files in the FastbootD mode. After that, you will have to resize the partition in this FastbootD mode itself. So for that, first off, we'll be removing this partition, and after removing this partition, we will then make this partition once again, as you can see from here. So once that is done, you will now have to flash the logical partition using these commands. The commands are given here, and once you have flashed all these logical partition, you could simply reboot your phone to the OS via the Fastboot reboot command. So both the approaches will work. You could either use the automatic approach, in which you just have to launch the install.bat file, or the manual method. In the manual approach, you will have to carry out and copy paste each of these commands manually in the CMD window. So both the approaches will work. It completely depends on your type. Moreover, if you don't want to use this Fastboot ROM, then you could also download the ROM from the official OnePlus website or using the Oxygen Updater app. But in those cases, you will get a payload.bin file. So you will then have to extract that bin file using either Python or the Fastboot Enhance Tool, and then you will get all the IMG file. Once you have got all the IMG file, you could then proceed ahead with the flashing process. Anyways, as you could see, the flashing is still going on. So if you don't want these Fastboot ROM, then download the ROM from the OnePlus official site or the Oxygen Updater app, then extract the payload.bin using the Fastboot Enhance Tool. And once that is done, you could then flash those files. The flashing will be same. You could either flash them using these commands, or if you want to flash it automatically, then you just have to replace the file inside the IMG folders, remove all these files and replace it with the files that you have got after extracting the payload.bin file using the Fastboot Enhance folder. So in that case also you could do. So both the things will work. Anyways, let's just wait for the flashing to complete, and it will take a few more seconds. So guys, the flashing is now complete. If you don't get any errors, then you could now simply reboot to the system. Just hit the Y key and the CMD window will close and your phone will now reboot to the OS. The entire flashing took around 6 to 7 minutes, but this time frame might vary in your case. If you are coming from a different custom ROM, or if your phone was in a brick state, then the time frame might be a little bit longer or shorter. That is not a cause of concern. Just make sure that you should not interact with your phone while the flashing is going on. And as you could see, our phone is now booting to the OS. Do keep in mind that the first boot up will take up some additional time frame. This is completely normal and nothing to worry about. From the subsequent time, it will not take that much longer. So while our phone is booting up, let's now move ahead with the next method. So up until now, we have discussed the Fastboot commands method. In this method, there was the automatic and the manual approach. And now I will be discussing about a highly risky method, and generally it's not recommended. But if you want to try it out, then I will show you how to do so as well. So guys, we are now in the Fastboot method, Fastboot mode. And now let me show you the most riskiest of the three approaches. This is using the Fastboot Enhance Tool. It was originally made for OnePlus 8T, but it works for a couple of other phones as well. I have tried it on a OnePlus 7T and a OnePlus 10 Pro as well. And I have tried on a OnePlus 9 Pro as well. Although it works, but it is quite risky, and in some cases your phone might end up in a hard brick state as well. So until and unless you are willing to give it a shot and you have knowledge regarding the working of MSM tool and you know how to unbreak your phone, although I made a separate guide from which you could unbreak your phone, and likewise I have also made a video, so you could either refer to my video on the guide, because in some cases I have seen that after using the Fastboot Enhance Tool method, the phone undergoes a hard brick state. But still, if you want to try it out, then here is what you need to do. First and foremost, download the tool from GitHub and extract them onto your PC. So let me show you. This is the Fastboot Enhance folder, and after that, once that is done, you will now have to download the OnePlus 9 ROM for your phone. It's the stock firmware or the stock ROM. You could get it from the official site or from the phone itself using the Oxygen Updater app. Once you have got the firmware, it will be in a payload.bin file format. Initially, it will be in a zip format. So you will have to extract the file and then get hold of the bin file. So let's do that as well. Just a minute. So as you could see, this is the file, and if you extract it, and you will get a couple of files. From that, you will have to copy the bin file and transfer it to the Fastboot Enhance tool on your PC. It might take some time. That's completely normal. So once that is done, while you have transferred the file, you could now launch the Fastboot Enhance tool using the exe file, and your phone should now be listed here. So double click to select it. Now go to the payload dumper tab and hit the browse button, and now you will have to load the payload bin file. So select it and click on open, and the bin file is now loaded. Now what you have to do is go to the partition tabs, and from here you could see that all the partitions are there, IMG files are there. So now you will have to go to Fastboot virtualization, and from here click on the flash payload.bin, it will first flash the file to the slot A. So wait for the flashing to complete. As of now, it will flash all the files of the payload.bin folder. But since you are already aware that we don't have to flash all the files, for instance, as I have shown you in my manual commands, we only have to flash these files in the Fastboot mode. Rest of the files are to be flashed in the FastbootD mode. But as of now, what we are doing is we are simply flashing the entire firmware in the Fastboot mode. So in that case, it will first flash these files, and after trying to flash these files, it will show out an warning or error message, which is completely normal and nothing to worry about. Once the flashing is complete, you'll have to click on activate slot B, because in my case, the current slot is A, so it's showing as B. If it's B in your case, then it will show A. So now change the slot using this, and again click on flash payload.bin. It will again try to flash all the files, but it will only be able to flash these files. Once it has flashed these files, it will try to flash these files as well, but it will fail and show you an error message. That is again normal, so simply ignore that error message. And once you have flashed the payload.bin file in both the slots, you will now have to reboot your phone to the FastbootD mode. So click on this button and your phone will now reboot into the FastbootD mode. It will take only a few seconds. So let's just wait for the time frame, and it will show you over here as well in the tool as well once your phone gets booted to this mode. So as you could see, we are currently in the FastbootD mode. Now once again, you will have to click on flash payload.bin file, and it will now start the flashing process. While the flashing is going on, you will get a few prompts as well. So let me show you that too. You will get a few prompts. So such as virtual AB temporarily partition exists. So if you get this prompt, then please click on no button. So hit the no button in case the virtual AB temporarily partition exists message pops up. So after clicking on no button, you will then have to go to the search tab, or simply go to the partition tab over here. Then search for all the partition which have the cow in it. So you will get a list of all the partition name which are having the cow name over here, as you could see in the screenshot. So select all these partition and then click on delete button, because we'll have to remove all these temporarily partition from our phone. So if you might be aware, let me show you. We have removed this cow partition using the manual command as well. So that is why we'll have to remove all these logical partition which are having the cow keyword at the end, because these are the temporarily partition. So we'll have to remove this partition. So you will get this prompt. Simply click on no, then search for cow partition and remove all the cow partitions. Once that is done, simply you will have to hit the flash payload.bin button, and upon the flashing is complete, you will get the operation complete message and your task stands complete, and you could now reboot your phone to the OS by simply hitting the reboot to system button. So guys, these were the three methods through which you could flash the Fastboot ROM onto your phone. So let's just reboot our phone to the system. Let me show you that as well. If the tool is not able to reboot to the system, not an issue. You could also reboot to the Fastboot mode, and from there try to boot your phone to the system. And even if that does not work, then simply do so from here. And with this, our phone will now reboot to the OS. So guys, these were the three different methods. Let's recall all these three methods. In the first method, it's the automatic method. It's the easiest and shortest of the three. All you have to do is just download the ROM file from here, extract it, and then launch the install.batch file. The flashing will now start, and it will just ask for one question. If you want to root, simply reply no, and the flashing will then get completed. You don't have to do anything else. Then comes the manual method, in which you will first have to do all these tasks manually. So first off, do a format data in the Fastboot mode, then flash this file in the Fastboot mode, then boot your phone to FastbootD mode. The screenshot is of FastbootD mode, but it's of the Droid ROM. At the time of recording, I had a few issues. I was not able to boot to the OS when my OS was Droid. That is why the FastbootD screen is of Droid ROM. In case you are using the stock OxygenOS, then the FastbootD screen will be different. You will have a Chinese and an English language and a few text written. It's for the custom ROM. Anyways, moving on. once you're in the FastbootD mode, you'll first and foremost have to flash these files. Then you will have to remove these partitions. Once that is done, you will have to make a few partitions as well. Then you will have to flash the logical partition using these commands, and then you could reboot to OS. After that comes the third method. This is the most riskiest out of the three. So in this, you will have to download the tools from GitHub and also download the Fastboot ROM. In this case, the Fastboot ROM from this link will not work. You will have to download from the official OnePlus site or using the Oxygen Updater app, because we require the payload.bin file. So extract the Fastboot Enhance folder and then copy the payload bin file from the firmware and transfer it into the tool. Then launch the Fastboot Enhance tool. And once you have launched it, then you will have to select your phone from here, double click on it, and then first and foremost flash the firmware to the Fastboot mode. And once the flashing is done in the Fastboot mode, click on activate slot to change the slot, and then you will have to flash in the second slot. Once you have flashed the payload.bin file in both the slot, you will then have to click on reboot to FastbootD mode. And once it's in the FastbootD mode, you will again have to load the payload bin file and then flash the file in this mode as well. So click on flash payload.bin file. You will get a warning of virtual AB partition. Click on no. Search for all the core partition, remove them, and then click on flash payload.bin. The flashing will not succeed and you should not get any issues. But still, to be on the safer side, it's not recommended to use this method. Rather, you should stick with method first and second. That is the automatic or the manual method. So guys, on that note, I round up this video. If you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section, and thanks a lot for watching.